I'm Derek Gilbert with a brief update from Skywatch TV for Monday, December 9th, 2024. Not a full day to prepare a program for you today as we just returned from the Branson Christmas Prophecy Conference, and then this morning recorded 3 broadcast programs for the main Skywatch TV broadcast with L.A. Marzulli about his new book, Rungs of Disclosure. Watch for that on the main program coming in the very near future. So today, a few stories we're looking at that we will report on more completely as we have time later this week. First, a person of interest arrested in the murder of the CEO of United Healthcare Insurance, Brian Thompson, killed outside the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan last Wednesday. Suspect has been identified as 26-year-old Luigi Mangione of Towson, Maryland. This according to the New York Post. Don't know yet what his motives were for the death of Thompson, but we will have more in the days ahead about that particular killing. And we'll also talk a bit about the very disturbing reaction to his death on social media. Daniel Penny, a former, well, I should say retired United States Marine. I don't think you're ever a former Marine. He was charged in New York by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg with manslaughter and then negligent homicide. This was for an incident on a New York City subway where he defended other passengers who were being threatened by a man who was posing what appeared to be a very real danger to other passengers, put him in a headlock and a chokehold, not with the intent of killing him, but with the intent of subduing him until reaching the next subway stop when law enforcement could be brought in. The victim, or the man who died, who was African-American, well, Penny was charged. He is a white man, and this was part of the narrative that this was a result of a racist attack. And so he, again, charged with manslaughter. The jury over the weekend was deadlocked, couldn't reach a verdict. So they were then directed by the judge who allowed DA Alvin Bragg to do this to change the charge to negligent homicide. The jury returned a verdict this morning, Monday morning, of not guilty. So Penny, who, according to other passengers on the subway train, was simply trying to defend the passengers on the train, found not guilty of a charge of negligent homicide. Today in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu delivered a press conference, held a press conference Monday evening Israel time in Jerusalem. This is against the backdrop of what the big story over the weekend, which is the fall of the Assad regime in Syria, and hours before testimony in court, because Netanyahu is the victim of lawfare, just as Donald Trump has been. Netanyahu said, quote, "Today everyone understands the great importance of our presence on the Golan Heights and not at the foot of the Golan Heights," end quote. And he said this because as the Syrian army melted away in the face of the rebel advance, the rebels have come right up to the border, or would have come right up to the border with Israel, had the Israeli Defense Forces not now established a buffer zone between Israel and Syria to keep them away from the border. Again, this is why Israel is holding the Golan Heights. Up until Israel captured it in 1967, the Syrian army was able to use the position of the high ground east of the Sea of Galilee to lob mortar shells into Israeli settlements on the west side of the Sea of Galilee. Israel still described as occupying the Golan Heights, but Israel will never give the Golan Heights back. And that was the point of Prime Minister Netanyahu's delivery, or his press conference and his statement today in Jerusalem. Now, as we told you yesterday, over the weekend, in a very brief report from Branson, the government of Bashar al-Assad has collapsed in the face of a lightning advance led by a rebel group called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS. This is the former al-Nusra Front, which is a group, a splinter of al-Qaeda. These have been portrayed in the media as moderate rebels, but they're really not moderate. Although they've taken Damascus and are now in possession of the city of Damascus, the international airport in Damascus, and it should not be understood that HTS controls the entire country. When you look at a map of Syria, and this is very fluid because reports coming out are coming from the rebels themselves, the various factions who were aligned with each other, allied with each other against Bashar al-Assad, but not necessarily friendly with one another. Now the struggle begins for which of these rebel groups is going to wind up in control of most of the country. If you look at a map and were to divide it up, roughly speaking, as to who controls what, HTS controls the west of the country, which is formerly the Assad regime's stronghold. The eastern part of the country, the northeast especially, east of the Euphrates River, is in control of Kurdish forces. There are some chunks along the northern border with Turkey that are controlled by Turkish-backed rebel groups and the Turkish military directly. And there's a big piece in the southern part, the southwestern part of Turkey, up against the border with Israel, that's mainly controlled by Druze. The Druze are a sect that not a lot is, they're rather secretive, but they venerate Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, as a prophet. They tend to be loyal to whatever country they're part of, whether it's Syria, Israel, or Lebanon. This is the area around the mountain of the Druze, Jebel al-Druze, where 100 years ago, between 1921 and 1936, the Druze essentially had an independent country. There are a lot of Christian enclaves in that part of the country as well. And this is the thing to remember. While the media is saying it's a wonderful thing that the brutal dictator Assad is out of power, as in the case of Iraq, where the brutal dictator Saddam Hussein ruled with an iron fist, he also protected the minorities in the country, like the Kurds, like the Yazidi, and the Christians. And the same is true in Syria, where the Alawite dictator, Bashar al-Assad, protected the Druze and Christians. And now you've got the Sunni majority, or at least a group representing the Sunni majority in Damascus. Well, we pray for the Druze and the Christians and the Alawites, the minorities there, as sectarian violence is not at an end. And again, this is why the Israeli Defense Forces have pushed deeper into Syria to establish a buffer zone away from the border so that hopefully Israelis can return to their homes. Anyway, it is a very fluid situation. I don't pretend to understand it all, and we will continue to keep an eye on it and report in more detail and in more depth as needed as this week goes on. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert for Skywatch TV.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we need the grassroots support of our Skywatch TV family to help us get the Rescue Us series out to as many people as we possibly can. This information is being suppressed, deleted, deplatformed, taken down, and is way too sobering for most network television outlets. We need you to get involved. We need you to join us in the efforts to get this series in front of your friends, your pastors, people of influence in government, your communities, anybody and everybody. Help us share this series not only to illuminate the many, many ways that we're losing an entire generation of children to intolerable darkness, but also to assist in the raising of an army of God's people willing to stand in the gap for them. The Rescue Us series shows the viewer what can be done by absolutely anybody willing to say, yes, Lord, I will answer the call. I will intervene for those who have no voice and for those who desperately need help. And that's why right now we're asking you to stand with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're proud to introduce the Rescue Us special offer. For your donation of only $49.99, you'll not only receive a copy of the entire 6-DVD docuseries Rescue Us that uncovers the massive crisis destroying an entire generation of youth, all while challenging each one of us to rise up for our nation's most vulnerable and break the cycle of abuse. But you'll also receive the brand new documentary, Rescued, Samantha's Story, where Samantha Orr personally takes you through her nightmarish childhood of unthinkable trauma and abuse to her total restoration in the arms of Jesus Christ. But friends, that's not all. Right now, while supplies last, we're also including in this special opportunity the 4-hour audio series on disc, The Hidden Occultism of Epstein's Orgy Island by the late Dr. Thomas Horn. Silent Cry, The Darker Side of Trafficking, featuring Yaku Bouillons, Ilanka Deaton, Dr. Thomas Horn, and others. And the major motion picture movie, Camp, on DVD that showcases what God can do in the life of a child desperate in need of rescuing through ministries like Royal Family Kids and is inspired by true events. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of $200. Yours now for your donation of only $49.99, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. But ladies and gentlemen, we are so committed to this message reaching as many viewers as is humanly possible that we want to equip you, our grassroots army of Skywatch TV friends and family members, with an opportunity to partner with us like never before. Join us in spreading this invaluable message through the Rescue Us Partner Pack, where you'll receive 5 copies of each of the items we just mentioned for your donation of only $165. That's right, when you order the special Rescue Us Partner Pack, you'll receive 5 copies of the entire 6-DVD docuseries Rescue Us, 5 copies of Rescued, Samantha's story, 5 copies of The Hidden Occultism of Epstein's Orgy Island, 5 copies of Silent Cry, The Darker Side of Trafficking, and 5 copies of the major motion picture movie Camp on DVD. This massive collection of documentaries, audio series, and movies holds a retail value of $1,000. Yours now for your donation of only $165. With 5 complete copies of everything in the collection, that allows you to keep 1 for you and your family and 4 entire sets to share with people that you believe will also be inspired to stand up in defense of God's greatest gift to us, our children. Remember, your donation helps Skywatch TV continue to get this important message to the 4 corners of the world. You can also stream the entire Rescue Us series and/or Samantha's story right now at skywatchtvstore.com/stream. So act quickly. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. Visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Rescue Us special offer or the Rescue Us Partner Pack right now.